It is hard to press on with a task or routine when doing so doesn't seem to produce any positive changes. How can we persevere in the absence of tangible progress? Jesus taught the disciples to continue to ask, seek, and knock, confident that God would graciously provide. Jesus made access to the Father attainable by changing the perspective on what it means to pray without lofty, pious words. He also radically changed who was able to approach God by inviting everyone who believes in him to call God Father. And that brings us to our key verse for today, which reads, "And so I tell you, keep on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open to you." Luke chapter 11, verse 9. In this parable, the man was unwilling to give his friend what he requested. When we look to people for help, we will find that some are unwilling to extend themselves for another person's request, regardless of the reason or need. Some people are stingy and cruel. Others lack the resources or are reluctant to share. Despite his familiarity with his friend, the homeowner will not go through the trouble to help. The Greek word for importunity is anaideia. This use of the term means that the friend is shamelessly persistent in seeking help from his neighbor. But another interpretation of the word anaideia focuses on the giver. The request is honored simply because the reputation of the giver is at stake. Jesus uses this parable to emphasize the need for earnestness and perseverance in prayer to God. From this vantage point, the focus is on God's nature as a generous giver who responds to all manner of requests, even those that arise under less than ideal circumstances. In these verses, Jesus strongly encourages us to bring all our requests to God, particularly those that are most urgent. Even if we have a need at midnight, Jesus enjoins us to seek God with persistence and determination, believing fully that God will and can answer our prayer. Here we are made to know three forms of outward actions in the process of requesting: asking, seeking, and knocking. In this passage, Jesus' encouragement for us to do these three things elevates them to the status of command backed by divine authority. Here, the Greek word aiteo is translated as ask. Its use suggests that the petitioner is lower in position than the one to whom the petition is made. The Greek word translated seek is zateo. Zateo signifies a seeking that is aggressive, and therefore the seeker strives, endeavors, and desires that which is sought. Its use suggests that seeking is not a passive inquiry. Kruo is the Greek word translated knock. When we knock at another's door, we are close to their place of abode. When we think of this term in regard to petitioning God, we are knocking on the door of heaven. Jesus addresses his disciples in a way that lets them know that they are inclined toward evil as a result of the fall. Yet, they still have the capacity to give good gifts to their children. This is indicative of their fatherly love, their willingness to do good to their children, and the fact that they feel the imperative to perform their fatherly responsibilities. Jesus then compares their character of evil, which produces the good that cares for their child, with the essential character of goodness, love, generosity, and kindness, with which our Heavenly Father abounds. Based on God's intrinsic nature and the fact that He is our Father, He will give us what is good for us. Here's our lesson. As believers, we need to purify our hearts to ensure that our pursuit of God is with the right motives. We must seek His kingdom and His righteousness. We must place our trust in God's character and His love for us, knowing that everything we need is in Him. Therefore, we can come boldly to the throne of grace and be persistent in prayer. We are able to come to God as Father, as instructed by Jesus, and believe that He can reward those who diligently seek Him. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing to iLights. Heavenly Father, fill our hearts with what we truly desire, for who we truly seek is you.